everyone. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker Training. We're here with Jacob Taylor and Richard Carlton of fmtraining.tv. It's a very exciting day. We're happy to have you all here with us. Today's kind of like a interesting audible kind of broadcast. What we did is we had a topic picked out, but we decided to switch it up for some server action because enough little things have gone on with the FileMaker Server updates recently that it's probably worthwhile for us to have this conversation, update you on what's going on. I just logged in, Jacob, to DBW2, so we will be able to go through that process, including the shutdown process and all that. We'll walk through it, so that'll be fine. So, real quick, upcoming broadcast schedule, I'm going to press the button right here, and it covers Jacob's head. Sorry about that, Jacob. So today is FileMaker Server, the latest bugs and notices and things like that. There have been some things that a lot of you, whether you've run into it or not, you will run into, so we need to alert you to that. Tomorrow, Calvin will be here along with Margaret. I believe they'll be doing a new window control for beginners, so it's precision control of placement of windows as they pop up on screen. You put them in different spots, things like that. Thursday, Joe Martin will be in from 360 Works. Hopefully he will be doing a walk-along. I have not had a ability to confirm that with Margaret, but to Ken, Hot Air Balloon, High Speed Pass Thule suggested that we do kind of a get-along, walk-along, building the email plugin, building an email, right? Friday and Monday and Tuesday. So you got 3 days kind of back-to-back of Nick Hunter and meatball menus, which I guess might be different than hamburger menus. I don't know what a meatball menu is. I've been learning there's apparently some new terminology or reasonably new terminology that I haven't seen yet, mostly because Claris hasn't updated the user interface tools in the FileMaker product. So like I learned what chips were. It's a design thing that you would have if you were using JavaScript or any modern layout design kind of tool. It's a chip. It's basically conditional formatting on an area. It's a background fill color. Anyway, so it's kind of interesting stuff going on. So Nick is going to cover whatever he's going to cover, probably related to his full Nick version of FM Starting Point, which is different than our shipping version. So anyway, so that is the upcoming schedule right there. As a reminder, actually, as new update. So if you go to our download the video player, there's a new version now out. For those of you who the current version's fine, I wouldn't worry about it. But for people who need the video player, is Video Player Build 51. And what it does is actually has a link that'll jumpstart you into the certification training if you're eligible to have that. Some people buy the video only training and they wonder, they're always missing something. I said, well, that's why you buy the complete bundle, not the partial bundle, right? The limited video only bundle is less money, but then you're always missing something and people always complain about that. So if you want to get everything, you need to make sure that you purchase the complete bundle. We have a discount for you. If you want to email us at support, we can give you a discount on that. There's a 1 year and a 2 year option on that, which is really nice. So anyway, these are annual subscriptions. There's a new video player here for those of you interested. If you have video player on your computer already working with your license key and you download the new one will pick up that license key automatically for you. It's kind of cool like that. So make sure that works correctly. All right, so that is that. Cool. So going back to Jacob Taylor. So Jacob Taylor, welcome today. So we're talking about FileMaker Server. What is the current version number? Is it 19.4.2? Is that the current?
Yeah.
As of today, which will change.
Change at some point. Yep.
Pretty soon, probably.
Yeah. There is a forthcoming version. So actually, the first thing that we're going to cover today, I'll say we covered it previously, but what we covered has completely changed in the interim. So that's kind of why we're updating everybody, covering it again. So you may remember, if you guys attend all of our live streams or something, previously, and you may experience this on your own servers, for example, if you've ever had recently, like in the last month or so, slow container data uploads, or if you're, doing a lot of uploading of your databases to FileMaker Server using the share menu in FileMaker Pro, if that is disgustingly, you're on modern versions, modern operating systems, etc., and that is disgustingly slow or doesn't work at all, that actually is because of an operating system update that was applied. And so in early January, Claris identified this kind of problem and published an engineering blog post.
So you want to jump to your screen? You can show your screen. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to switch over just a minute.
Switching control. Operators are standing by.
And pop the screen. There it is. All right. So let me move Richard over here. Beautiful. Okay. So basically, like the actual change is there's an Apache. Apache is the web server that handles container data uploads and downloads and deals with the files when you're uploading an FMP12 to FileMaker Server, and so that is on both the Ubuntu FileMaker servers and the Mac version as well. And so there was a security update that was shipped out to Apache specifically, and Apple at least. So Ubuntu, you would have gotten it possibly automatically. Apple shipped it out, and you would have had to at least either installed the update or still had auto updates on. They shipped it out to Catalina, Big Sur, and Monterey. And so if you're current on your operating system updates on all three of those versions, you have this security fixed version. That's great. We love security fixes. However, it either partially or fully broke things like container data uploads, file uploads, stuff like that. So they had in early January put out an engineering blog post that explained basically a small configuration change to Apache itself that corrects the issue and kind of restores full functionality. It's not about the security update. There's something else going on under the hood there, but that their fix works around it. So the reason that we're updating everybody, though, is because they updated this again this month in February. I don't know if people are having too much of a problem applying this fix to their servers or what, but they updated the support article with a script that will do the whole job for you, basically. And so I'm actually not going to click on it because I have it open already. We'll refresh the page just in case. But yeah, so they have a full explanation of like what the particular issue is and how you fix it. And fortunately now the how you fix it section is shorter because it isn't, hey, you need to go into your Apache configuration files, shut FileMaker Server down, change this file, do this other thing, reboot it, blah, blah, blah. You still have to shut the thing down, but the modification at least is done for you as long as you can get on the command line, and here's the affected versions of everything. As long as you can get on the command line and like run the little script that they provide.
So there's the commands right there and everything, right? Okay, so.
Yep. Yeah, they like teach you how to do it. So basically, if you're on a Mac, it'll be easier because you'll go onto your server, you'll go to this page, you'll download the thing, and basically do this, which will be open terminal. You'll have to find where you downloaded it to, which will either be your downloads or your desktop. Okay. And then you'll sudo bash, and then this is the actual file that it's at the. I didn't scroll all the way down. Hold on, I'll do that. So you can download it. You see the attachment right here. You can just download it.
Well, we're actually going to do this today. We're going to run an update because we have a Mac server that's on 19.4.1, and we're going to update it, and then we're going to patch it. So we're going to do a couple things back to back here. So for everyone. I don't know if we want to start that now, or do we want to cover any other hot news items? Because the Claris engineering blog is really quite good. Where's that at again?
I'll post that link too, so we can cross-propagate it. I honestly, I highly recommend everybody you can see they post now and again sometimes, and they'll post 3 articles in 3 days, and then not again for 2 weeks. It's not on my calendar. I don't mean like that, but I check it once a week or so. Because this is about the best direct communication we've ever had with engineering inside of Claris. Yeah. And I know it's broadcast, but they can say, hey, we're aware of a problem with our product, and here is a resolution for the customers that are experiencing that issue, and that's awesome, actually. So. Okay.
Cool. Well, any questions from anyone so far? It's all kind of quiet. Welcome everyone who's there. Gadidi as well, Gruben, Canberra, David, Drew. Yeah, so cool. So let's jump. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quit sharing your screen so much. If you wanted to share your face or not share anything, What I'm going to
Yeah,
do,
I can
everyone, so we're
cancel
going to
here.
do this. We haven't practiced this, so this is going to be
This will be live.
live cooking the normally we like pre-cook it, so you make something, you put it in the oven, then you already had something you put in the oven an hour before and you bring it out, so it's all pre-baked, it turns out good. If you run a cooking show on TV, that's how you do that stuff, but we are actually going to go full live without practice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect to my FileMaker server from here. It's dbw02, and that's at RCC. It's a domain that we control there. So I was going to bring it up. I'm going to log on to it. And I just had logged on to it a little bit ago. And I had gone ahead and gone into my server. So notice that we're going to have, we have a slightly older version of server here. Strictly speaking, on this computer, I'm also going to run through an OS update, but I'll do that later because that could take like an hour. This, if you check that list a little bit ago, the next update I get on Big Sur, although I might jump to Monterey, 11.6. You can't really see it here if I zoom in. 11.6.2 is the affected version on Big Sur, and then Monterey probably 12.2, 12.1 or 12.2. But the idea is that this bug is not really a Mac bug. It's a Apache open source web browser bug, and so it gets patched on the Linux versions of servers and the Mac versions of servers. If you're a Windows server, which actually funny is RCC, most of our servers are Windows servers up on Amazon. So anyway, so we're going to go through this anyway right here because this is my personal. I always say we eat our own dog food. This is when I'm learning about the FileMaker platform. It's my personal FileMaker server. I run some of my personal files on, and so this is a twofold bonus. Everyone gets to watch me struggle with this, and at the same time, when I'm done, theoretically, if it doesn't eat itself, I have an updated server, which is great. So what I've done first off is what's rule one, everyone, right? Before we do any work on the server, restart it, we shut down the files. In order to shut down the files, make sure all the users are disconnected. I did that right before I started the live stream. And then I'm going to come down here. These are all my files. I'm going to say to close all the files. If you don't have your own FileMaker server, you haven't done this kind of stuff before, it's really doing yourself a disservice as a fairly well-rounded developer. It's important that you have these, because what we do here is the same as what it looks like on Windows, and it looks the same, frankly, on FileMaker Cloud 2. Cloud 2 looks the same way. So it's closing all the files. Look like they're closed.
Yep.
All right, so what do we do now, Jacob? I'm going to let you tell me I'm going to do it. You tell me what to do. So what are we doing here?
So we got to do a couple things. One is you should fetch the FileMaker Server installer because I don't see that.
Okay,
maybe you downloaded it.
No, I have not downloaded it. So but I'd have to get the update.
It's
on our Slack. We have it on our Slack, but
you can grab it from Software Downloads. I posted.
Let me just go to there. But you would normally get this as part of your license update information, or if you get the licensing from RCC, we could give you the link for it as well.
Yeah, correct. If you're a client or something, what you'll probably do is you'll go find your licensing page, and you'll have links that are very close to this. They'll be that's the one that you want. You'll have like thank you for your order and your license key, blah blah blah, and just go and check that. At this point, they don't even publish the old software upgraders. If you all remember the upgraders from back when, they've kind of stopped putting them on the page anymore. They don't even update that anymore. The reason for that is because the full FileMaker Server, Pro, etc. installers are all upgraders. So there's no.
So you're saying that this is a clean install and an updater all in one package. So
in one place.
So this is so there was my previous one that we built, installed. And this is the 19.4.2, and that's a build number. So if you lose track of 4.2, really doesn't matter. You got FileMaker Server 19 for Mac, build 204, okay? Because that will be a unique parking spot. And between when they shipped 4.1, that was build 41, they had 150 about builds where they were building and testing and building and testing and building and testing and get to a stable spot. Then they ship it. Happens to be build 204, which is the same way we do our video training player. We're at build 51 of our video player currently. Most of you have build probably 46 or something like that. So I'm going to do, now I do go ahead and open it now, or do I do something else at this point, Jacob Taylor?
Yeah, sorry. I'm looking for the doc page so that I can link it in Discord for everybody.
Yeah, that would be great.
There it is. All right, I got it. Sorry. I wanted to do this. This is the Mac one. Where's Discord? I got too many windows open. All right, that's the Mac one.
Okay.
And then let me get you the Windows.
I'm going to cross post to YouTube here.
They're all different pages, of course.
Okay, so we're playing air traffic control here. So we're giving everyone
Windows,
the links. So this is the upgrade process. Is that what we're posting here?
No, these are how to stop the processes, because we're just going to turn FileMaker Server off, basically.
Okay.
But we have to do it on the command line. So.
All right, so let me go to Discord here. I'm going to go to this conversation over here.
Are the three official directions for how to do that.
So I want I'm going to copy that. Boy, will that go over here?
Can you copy all three? You might be able to copy all three.
Yeah, I already put them on I need to do that in a second here. Hang on, let me see if I can get over here to the browser. Let me see, new browser. It went. So this is the instructions right here. So this is, there may be times you need to start and stop all the components in a FileMaker server. For example, you have to you can do this macOS. So this is what we want to do before we run an update, right? Is that the idea,
Yep.
Jacob Taylor?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So what I want to do is you're
going to run that stop command. It's the bottom one. And you're going to run that inside of terminal. And it's going to ask you for a password, and that is going to be. Yep, you got it. Your terminal's down in the bottom right.
Oh, it's already open there. Black. Okay. Yep. So what do I do? I'm going to just type that in there like that, you think?
Yep. Yeah. So it's going to ask you for a password. Mm-hmm. That is the password you use to log in at the, like if you were at the keyboard. It is not the FileMaker credential.
You're saying this is the operating system password is what we're talking about here, right?
Yes. Yep. And if you're on Windows, it's the same. Like if you log in with the administrator user, it'd be the administrator user's password or something like that. Windows is a little different. You'll use the Surfaces panel.
Okay, did that go or not go? Did it pass or fail, or
So no feedback at all means there was no problem at all.
Okay, so for those of you wondering about that, if you can't see this, I'm going to zoom in over here. So I typed in my operating system password, and it didn't say anything back, which I kind of hate it. That's why I hate command line. It was okay. So then it actually means it probably shut everything down. Is that what it did? It stopped everything?
Yeah, you'll wait on it. So if you go back to your browser and go to the admin console, which may still be open.
Okay.
If you switch tabs.
Okay. Yep. I'll close that one and go over here. Oh.
And now it's dead.
Now it's dead. So now it's very dead. So now we can run
because it'll show you that the thing that was there for like a quarter of a second, the database server has been stopped, right? Because it shut off, and then the thing that offers you the admin console is like the last thing to go down.
Ruben points out I should keep the ear password near me. Hopefully I won't need it, but if I do need it, in my case here, for those of you wondering about this, I don't put it on post-it on the computer, but I have a page of codes here that you can't really read, but it's a page after code. It's all this kind of stuff here. So the answer is I keep that stuff, but that's because I've been burned before by that. So, So now I'm going to run my installer. Is that what I want to do? I'm going to go back full screen here. I'm just going to close that. I'm going to no, that was the one I wanted. Close that. So I double-click this image here. I'm going to say install.
And that was the point 2.
Yeah, it was point 2. The package will run a program to determine the software can be installed. Allow. Installer would like to access files.
You're just going to say OK for everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
it'll think, and that's going to allow you to continue.
And then
you're going to continue. This is actually the steps of you shouldn't be running this on this and that version and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I recommend you folks read this, but it's all stuff that we've kind of pre-cooked. Okay, by the way, if you notice, it kind of flashed there. On Windows, it doesn't do this. The installers on the Mac tend to flash when on the FileMaker server on the Mac, it'll flash, but then it jumps forward. So it can't really jump forward without flashing, if that makes sense. There's like different screens, sequence of screens, step 1, 2, 3. It's jumped ahead here, right? If I go back, it'll probably see that flash. So I'm going to go forward here. It should go to the next screen, but it says, oh, we don't need that. So it'll just skip past it. See that?
Yep.
So now I'm going to, so I just hit
continue.
Hit continue.
We're not doing we're not touching or doing anything.
It just jumped 2 screens, a license key, another screen, like it jumped 4 screens. So
admin console credentials.
Yeah. Yep. It jumped way down here, and I'm going to say
and
install.
Then you're just going to hit install. And
FileMaker Pro must be closed.
Close Pro. Yep.
Oh, it's running down here. I didn't know it was running. They just tell it to quit. Of course, a lot of times on the Mac, it actually quit. Wow. Close application, install. Now I got to put my machine password in again.
Yep. And then we're going to sit back and relax as it does all the work for you.
And we hope that it doesn't self-destruct.
And if it's totally successful, yeah,
blows the server into tiny little
it'll
bit.
turn back up again, and it'll be in the correct configuration because you have your auto open database stuff turned off, so we won't have any live databases, but FileMaker Server will boot.
Yep. That would be ideal. Cool. So that's how you run the update. Then after we do this, we're going to go through the little hacky fix for the.
Yep.
Oh, I got a question. You would run that. If I run it now, then I run an operating system update. Would it overwrite? Oh, you should do the operating system update first, then do the fix. We're going to go through it.
I don't know that it'll matter. I don't know if it matters in advance of the OS update, but that's a good question.
Yeah.
It shouldn't matter because the file that you're modifying is the FileMaker Server version of configuration for Apache, but I don't know how that interacts with the unpatched version, basically, the version that doesn't have the issue. May not be bad. I don't know. You should try it. Maybe we'll blow it up on stream.
Yeah, well, what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and try and run it, and then at some point we won't know it's broken until I run the operating. Normally, I would personally run the operating system updates, then run your FileMaker Server updates, and then do the little patchy thing on that.
Yes,
about.
That is good advice if you are within major versions of FileMaker Server.
Yes,
I want to be clear. We had a customer in Lemurlitter actually today because they blew up their server because they upgraded their operating system in advance of FileMaker Server. Oops. And they found out that the operating system, the new version, was not compatible with FileMaker Server anymore, and that's now causing them problems. There's actually 2 people that are having that issue right now. There's another one in my inbox as well.
Okay, so you have to go help them as soon as you're done with us here. Okay, got it.
No, they're scheduled for next week actually, because the lady goes on vacation today or tomorrow, I think.
And so it doesn't really matter to her. Okay. Normally, when the FileMaker Server quits running, people start screaming and running around with their hair on fire. So.
And it looks to me like a screaming and running around hair on fire type situation, but they're not concerned about it. So.
Well, if the customer's not concerned, then I guess we're not concerned, right?
I've advised the correct path forward, and that is what I can do.
Yep.
And it's scheduled for next week. So.
Okay. So this is probably, although you can see the processors down here. It's got 4 cores, 2 processors. These are i7s. It's not a Mac Mini, or it is a Mac Mini, but it's not the new one with the M1 processors on it yet. So what is the minimum operating system for FileMaker Server 19? So we're talking about, well, we'll still say...
that is not actually a question that you can answer 19.0 to 19.4. You would need to look up the technical specifications for the particular build that you are trying to install because it differs. For example, they no longer support Mojave as of 19.4. So previous versions supported Mojave as an example. So generally, I wouldn't run it with less than Mojave at this point. But you're actually you're in February of 2022. Just apply all of your updates and go with the latest version. That's the correct approach at this point. 19.4 has been rock stable for RCC, and all of the customers that I've put onto it at this point. The only fair warning I can give you, and it is specific to Monterey, and it's not even a problem that exists yet, but I want to bring it up so that it's on stream and we've said it somewhere. Apple has a forthcoming Monterey 12.3 forthcoming. It's not out yet. Dropbox has been messaging in advance of this version coming out because it's going to completely explode Dropbox and break it totally, part of its synchronization functionality. That may or may not actually matter, and maybe they'll be able to fix it by the time it comes out. I don't know, but it's worthwhile to note that they had to email everybody about that, and so I'm telling people to hold off specifically on 12.3 before we have certification from somebody that it will work, because maybe it'll break Pro, maybe it'll break Server, maybe there will be no issues, maybe we won't care, but we don't know yet. So
Real quick, so everyone saw this boot up while Jacob was talking. The files were not open because I set them not to open. Such an important thing when you go to configuration. You set the files automatically open databases that are in the folder. Disabled always, 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 always disabled.
Off.
And then down here, these are all with the little lock. It says they're unencrypted. And you have this one file called Tactical Security, which doesn't have anything, which is kind of stupid. It should be a happy. Anytime it's omitted, then you think maybe that's an error of omission. But no one's ever explained that to Claris, whatever, or Apple. It's kind of the Steve Jobs shit. Yeah. So this one means it's without anything being here. It should be like a little happy green thingy. It means it's good to go, baby. But it doesn't say that. So anyway, so it had the encryption password saved in its own FileMaker server encrypted cache. It used that password to pop that open automatically, right? So yeah, so there you go. So
Canberra was the one that asked about the minimum macOS version. It says, I'll stick with my Ubuntu box as my Mac server won't go past 10.15. Yeah, if you put Ubuntu on your Mac Mini, you're already good to go. Don't worry about it. You know your compatibility, whatever there. But specifically, if you are on 10.15 is Catalina, that is perfectly well supported by FileMaker Server 19.4. So I would, go for it. We're at this point telling customers you are welcome to go to 19.4. For people that aren't having issues on previous versions, when you get to it. But if you're having any kind of a problem or anything like that, absolutely upgrade. 19.4, in our experience so far, has been rock stable. Our company, RCC, is running on 19.4 right now. So if you signed up for an email reminder for the live stream, or you, like Richard did, showed the future live stream schedules or whatever, that's all being served out of 19.4. So.
Okay, so real quick, so Lynn asked a really good question. So Lynn, you're kind of newer on the block around us, so you probably missed this. So Lynn says, well, why not set the files to open automatically, right? And it's a really, really great question. In fact, I'm really thankful that Lynn asked the question because probably other people had the question and no one had the nerve to ask. Thank you. Whenever you have a question, understand there's probably 5 other people have the same question. The reason, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this slightly smaller here so you can see me wave my hands, is that here's the fundamental rule. So the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And this little dialogue over here that you see is the road to hell paved with good intentions. The good intentions, hey, it should just automatically open itself and do that. Here's the rub. Whenever you crash a FileMaker file, absolutely, if at all possible, you never use it, okay? You never use the crash file. So if your FileMaker server suddenly, like right now, this server, the files are open. If it crashes right now, bam, it crashes. The files that I have, the live files that are over here, I'm going to go back over here. The files that I have, so this is my FileMaker server folder over here. Say it crashes right now, boom, it's gone. The power goes out. My cat kicks the cord out of the back, whatever happens. In here are my live database files, okay? So here's my live set of files. Everything in here is my live stuff, okay? These are all suspect to be damaged because they were not closed correctly. If you have a local file running on your Mac or your Windows computer, and you crash FileMaker Pro on your computer, then that has the same sort of situation. It hasn't been closed correctly. It may be damaged. So what you do is you take this folder here, and you basically take everything out, and you save it or throw it in the trash can. And then what we would do is we would go to the last good backup, which means that you better have backups. And so you go over here to probably solid state drive A. We would see the hourly backup that we had one at 1:10 p.m. It's not even very old. We would grab everything in here and bring it over and replace it. That is so important because you don't use crash files. So what happens? So what can happen is that a lot of computers will restart themselves after a crash, or the power goes out, it comes back on, they restart themselves. And if you leave this checkbox enabled over here, like where it says automatically enable, automatically start, after the crash, right, you shouldn't use the file. You should go through a backup process, but you're not there to supervise it. FileMaker Claris is aware of this issue. They've talked about this issue. They know it shouldn't do this. because what this does is that you crash the files, they're potentially damaged. It reopens them automatically, doesn't tell anyone this happened, and you come into the office at 9 o'clock in the morning and the files are running and no one's complaining, and you assume that everything's fine, except that at 2 in the morning it crashed and went down. Now, if you crash a file once, is there a problem? Probably not, unless you're doing a lot of intensive data reading and writing off the file, but it can collectively be a problem. So I'm going to pivot to Jacob Taylor here. Jacob, do you still have that screenshot? The one from I'm just going to loosely say Texas people. Remember the unknown file type? Do you have that screenshot?
Oh,
go find that.
Yeah, but
go
I
find
have to find it.
Let me know when you have it. Interrupt me when you find it, okay?
Well,
so what happens is that you crash at night, you don't know. So what this does, this basically bad happen to your FileMaker files. You should use the backups. And if this is turned on, you don't know that it crashed. And you can't take corrective action because it's kind of like someone died and it's like the FileMaker server buried the bodies in the backyard automatically and then grew grass over it, so you don't even know there's dead bodies back there. And so it keeps using the crash files, and it keeps using the crash files, and it keeps happening night after night or day after day or whatever until the day comes back when the file will not open. It attempts to reopen it, and remember, it says it automatically open files that are in the database folder. What it doesn't say, if it can. It should say in big bold letters here, if it can. Because if it's damaged, it can't. And how could it be damaged? Well, because the server went down and then it came back up and you reopen the files that were damaged. And you do it over and over and over again, and you do it 5, 10 times, 20 times, whatever it is. One day they won't open and your file is gone forever and you never get it back. And so you lose all the data in there. And if your company's in a bad spot, maybe your entire corporation goes out of business. Maybe your small business goes out of business. Maybe your nonprofit loses all the donor information. If you have donors and you're emailing them and having them donate to your nonprofit or your educational school institution, maybe you lose all that data. Maybe you're going to go out of business when this happens. It's kind of like a life-changing, horrible moment. Let's say this should not be on. It encourages bad behavior with it on. It facilitates using crash files, which is a bad idea. I stopped opening files automatically after broadcast by RCC. Yes, Ruben, thank you for doing that. Ruben, we're helping you live a normal, happy, healthy life without extra stress, without Jacob's involvement. I'm going to make sure this is off, by the way. Thank you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the failover, fix it. So if your uploads are going slow for uploading files to FileMaker Server, Mac or Linux, or your container uploads are going slow, where they used to be faster, then you want to come over to do a search for engineering blog, go to the top article here. We're going to scroll down. We're going to download this little file here, allow it to download. And then we're going to go through the instructions here because Jacob's not here to help us. How do I resolve the issue? Download run the script. Okay, so I'm going to have to run this script here, but I got to find the path. That'll be a tricky. So you guys going to help me out on this? Because Jacob's not here. So I have to figure out the path to that file. How would I figure out the path? It would be like...
Where did you download it?
It's on the desktop, I'm pretty sure, right? So
all right, so there's a trick that only works on Mac, I think. If you go find that file.
Okay, it's right here.
Locate it.
Uh-huh.
All right, clean up go to your terminal, delete the stuff after sudo bash.
Okay, I'll just try. Just
type out sudo bash and then add a space.
Okay. Wait a minute.
You're gonna drag the file onto the console.
I'm gonna drag it here.
I think this works if I'm remembering correctly.
There it is. Okay.
There you go.
And then
did you stop FileMaker Server?
No.
Did you finish the installation behind the window? you should click.
Yeah. No. The installation's done. My file. So should I stop my server now?
Yes. Yeah. You should do like we did before. Close all the files. Stop FileMaker Server completely. Okay, I think that was in the directions.
Okay. Sorry. I just read the directions and it said step 1, download this.
Did it tell you to stop the?
Well, I kind of started at number one. It gives the background here, which products are
Yep.
affected, how do I resolve it? Step one, download the file. Check. Step two, run this command. So I didn't see a stop everything command.
Oh.
Should I stop everything?
I would advise you to stop everything.
Okay,
However,
so
because they don't tell you to, I'm smiling because that's
okay, I can't see the smile, so yes. So
go down a little further, see if they'll.
how do I
Do they tell
manually
you to
open the
do
command
that?
line,
Yeah, they
remove
tell you what
virtual?
to change and where. Okay, cool.
It
Yeah,
says
go
it
down a
looks
little
like they're just
further.
fixing a config file, right? So this
Yeah, that's
is
it. Oh, and then you restart it. Okay, so maybe it doesn't. Oh, it's just a targeted thing. Okay, yeah, no, run it. Try running it.
okay, but then you're
Try
going to
running it.
restart the web server, right? So this
So that's probably in the script.
okay,
That's definitely.
so we just tell it to run that whole thing then, right? Okay, so
Yep.
let me go
Go
back
back
to
to your
terminal.
terminal,
Oh,
and
okay, I'm going to drag it again.
I think you
Oh, I
closed
need
it.
the sudo though. What is it?
Sudo
Uh-huh.
sudo bash bash.
sudo, then bash,
Yep.
and
And then
then
space, and then drag your file.
and drag the file, and then hit the return key. We think
Yep.
password. Okay, here we go.
As with sudo before, that's
Yeah.
your
Ah,
your
man,
operating system
I
password.
just botched it. Let me see that again.
It'll let you try again, or you can press delete a lot of times.
I did. That's what I did. Okay, what happened? Okay,
Nothing.
once again,
Everything.
it did the no confirmation thing.
That also means that Claris didn't put anything in the script that tells you that it did anything. That's a script thing. They could say, patch successful or something like that.
All right, so then how do we test that this has worked, or how do we know it's worked? We don't really know. Do we know?
Yeah, we don't. We could go look in the file and confirm, I suppose. But
I'm just going to take it on. I might, be inclined to do a server restart, but yeah, you get the idea. So anyway, so
yeah,
yeah.
well, theoretically, the script did that for you. It
Uh-huh.
doesn't need to do the whole server. It just needed to do the web serving component.
All right. Well, what else we have? Do we anything else today? I mean, that's 1:44. Maybe we let everyone else out of class early today, right?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, if you want to try a Windows update, but it's kind of the same thing. We just turn everything off, and then
We never found that screenshot, eh?
I am now scrolling backwards in my screenshots, hoping because no, I didn't find it.
Okay, yeah. So what it is that we had a customer who we ended up. I don't know if we fired them or what happened, but there was a customer that
Yes,
yeah, we did fire them, and they would
they were we'll say challenging to work with.
so like we have like certain rules, like you don't use crash files. It's like if you were a Toyota repair dealership or something, and your customer always drove drunk, and they kept bringing you the car that was crashed, and then they were mad at you that it was broken because they crashed it while drinking and driving. So you cannot work with a professional developer and crash your files deliberately so where you don't restore from the backup because you think you know more than they do because they have the right to not work with you, which is what we did. And so they had this company, and eventually the company got to a point where the files wouldn't open, and they said, well, we'll just recover the file whenever that happens, which is what people do. And then they recovered the file. And the file, at one point, wouldn't recover, and they open up the field definitions, and their main primary key field that drove the whole system, it said the field was called ID blah blah project or something, type of field unknown,
Unknown.
unknown. Unknown as in it has no idea. What text field, number field, calc field, whatever, it doesn't know, and you are screwed. Screwed, 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 screwed. And there's no unwind for that, right? There's no fix it, right? And so I don't know. There was a staff change over there, and the people that kept crashing the server, because when that happens, I normally engage with the CEO, and I have done that at a couple customers, and I've done it twice now over the last year. One CEO basically threatened to fire the director of IT if they didn't follow our requirements for this because he didn't want to go out of business. He got promoted because we built him a system that kicked.
Found the screenshot.
Oh, you found the screenshot,
Let me,
please.
yeah. Let me extract these and get them somewhere I can use them. Just a minute.
Yeah, and make sure there's nothing sufficiently inflammatory about that screenshot. But
Yep.
but the point is that he got promoted to CEO. He didn't own the company, but he got promoted to CEO because they built a great FileMaker solution. I called him and said, listen, your IT guys are playing loose and fast. They don't listen to the consultants because obviously we're stupid, and they keep using crash files, and the day is going to come when you're going to lose everything. Good luck, because you don't call us when it happens because we won't be able to help you. And he actively engaged. He thanked me for my intervention. Like, it's like an alcoholic who doesn't believe they're alcoholic. We're going to intervention with them, and they had a come to Jesus moment down there where they follow the rules now. This other company refused to do it, so we just fired them. We don't want to be associated with a company that knowingly is going to destroy their file, right? Who wants that? Because then what happens? It quits working. What are you going to blame? I'll blame the consultant. It's our fault. Their file doesn't work anymore.
So, all right, I'm gonna share my screen. That's
Okay.
in FileMaker. That's what it would look like when it broke in production. That key field, the file number, if you will, is it's their internal ID for each of the things that they do. I'm not going to say anything about it more, but that's the UUID for every individual thing in their business. Everything in their business has one of those.
Yep.
And it comes from this file.
Yeah. So there you go. So that's what you're trying to avoid, Lynn from Austin. Okay. You want to avoid this, and the way you do it is you never used a crashed file, right? Pretty straightforward. Because the road to hell was what we were talking about over there. This is hell. You have arrived. Okay.
Sorry.
You're in FileMaker hell. You've arrived there. All right, cool. So hopefully, Canberra asked the question. I don't know.
No, we don't have anything on that at all. Not even the next patch that's coming out. I got nothing. There's at least two. No, let me think about that. They're on 1804, so there's at least one more year of full support for the version of Ubuntu that FileMaker Server runs on right now,
which is 18, right? What do they call 18. That? What do they call a rock stable release or a steady rock release?
LTS, long-term support LTS.
Long-term support. So it's a stable spot. You get that download, and you don't have to worry about.
Yeah, there'll be a full year. There's a full year of, like, if you have a problem, they'll fix it. There are 2 more years after that where they're not going to change functionality, like to correct an issue, but security updates still apply. So we got plenty of time. The only downside currently, basically, to being on an older version is we don't get some of the newer stuff. And if it applies to you, you like might be missing some new hardware drivers or something like that for it.
So Canberra says hopefully that's what Canberra was saying, the end of life for the 1800. Is it 1804 or 1802?
It's 1804. Yeah.
1804.
The LTSs are always the 04s. They're released every 2 years. So there's 1804. There was a 2004. Very shortly here in 2 months there will be a 2204. Those are all LTS releases.
I wonder if they can just jump the gun and go to a 2204. Huh.
That may be what they do, actually. Like, I don't know what the version will be, but call it FileMaker Server 19.6 or something like that. That may be the work that they put in, and they'll just go straight to 22.
So David Angel, I guess, I don't know, who are you talking to, David? Because you asked, you kind of a fragmented sentence here.
He's asking if FileMaker can be containerized. The answer is yes. The longer answer is good luck, have fun. It's difficult, but it can be done.
Yeah, it's being done by what's his name?
I don't know if they're even targeting that. Yeah, it's Fabrice.
Fabrice.
It's Fabrice's hosting business. FM Cloud FM. He figured that out. He got it done. He fully automated it, etc. So that's his hosting business.
Yeah, Chris Moyer did it once, and he said, well, Chris is very nice, but basically in translate into plain English, Chris Moyer said it was but it can be done, and there are certain upsides to it if you can do that. But
there's good performance upsides to it. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's just it's a lot of work, and on a single server or a couple of servers, don't.
Okay.
go get hosting from Fabrice or something like that.
Yeah.
At some point in the future, yeah, when we get closer to, also an updated Ubuntu and stuff like that, maybe they'll put work in on stuff like that. I don't know. I have nothing to say on that, and I don't even have any secret information that points any direction at all on that. So.
Rick Fosna asked the $1 million question, which is kind of why we do what we do here. He goes, well, okay, back on this crash issue over here that we have.
Yep.
He just turned his server off so it doesn't do this. He goes,
Good.
by the way, so how would I know if the file was damaged if it was set to be on the server? Well, you wouldn't, right? That's the rub. You don't know things are damaged until bad shit
So you get
happens.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, we're being unsubtle about the direction, because the answer is always restore from a backup. That's always the conversation. There's no other conversation, period. I got into a somewhat contentious meeting with somebody yesterday actually about it, because they were like, well, but data loss for the client. It's like, okay, then if your client has insane data loss requirements, i.e. they don't want any data loss, or they absolutely unequivocally, would like to avoid it at all extents, okay, then they need to write checks for faster, more frequent backups.
Correct.
Period. Because that is how you get around that. And the easiest way to put a server backup in a way where you can guarantee you haven't introduced corruption into the file is to have screaming backups as often as not humanly possible, but machinely possible. It's a very straightforward problem. Everyone, let's do this. We can re-import records into the database. Like, there's all this stuff everybody wants to talk about. No, the simplest thing, because their business is on fire, your hair is on fire, the server is on fire, and you want to get them back up and running again, it's very easy. Close everything down. If you've made the mistake of having it auto open, shut everything off, restore from the most recent backup, and put everything back on again. Write your lovely email to the client that says, my apologies, you lost 7 minutes of data because we went back to the last 15 minute after the hour backup. That's it. You don't need to do anything else. You honestly don't even apologize, because you've just saved their business potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars at some future
millions,
point.
Yes.
So
exactly.
Yeah, millions if it's a big enough
Millions
business.
if it's big enough. So let me make this very clear. So you had if you didn't fill me in that you had this conversation yesterday sometime, let me know about that. But
Yep.
let me explain to everyone how this works. So the more demands you place upon technology, the more you got to break this out. This is a stack. This is what $10,000 looks like. Okay, $10,000 in $100 bills. Okay, and this is legit. Okay, so the reality of this is that I demand. There's a CEO that his business is worth probably 300 or 400, $500 million. And it's always gimme, and he generally does not ever want to invest in keeping happy employees or keeping good technology. So he makes big demands, but he doesn't want to spend any money. And so those are in conflict. You cannot provide infinite high degree demands upon technology or a car or a plane or a helicopter or boat or anyone unless you're going to write a check to cover those associated costs. So like Jacob says, if I absolutely cannot have any data loss at any time, like zero data loss, then you actually have to have more than one FileMaker server. And as the data is written to that server, it replicates it in real time to the other server. Well, that's more money. That's expensive. That's unreasonable. Well, you, okay? I don't know what else to say, right? and some of you need to grow a backbone when your customers do this, right? I know we have junior engineers and they hate doing that, but the reality is that you've got to push back on people who are excessively cheap, who don't want to pay, who also want, if you don't want to pay and you're willing to have, lose a day's worth of work because you only want to back up once a day, that's fine, okay? But it's the high demand people who demand, and they don't want to pay. And we just 33 years of doing that. I don't have a lot of.
And that's why all of our standard server setups, if you've ever had a server setup with us, you will always have hourly backups. I don't even let people who are like, oh, my business doesn't like move that fast, I only have dailies. I still usually sneak in a little tiny hourly backup schedule on their server. It maybe keeps 4, right? It's not even appropriate. Richard would get mad at me. Sorry, Richard, for that. But they're like, we don't need it, and I'm confident that that statement is not true.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
if the server crashes, you will be thanking everybody that there happened to be a secret little 4-hour backup on there somewhere, because they'll be like, oh, Jacob, we don't know what's happening, it won't come back up, blah, blah, blah. And I can go in there and basically do a copy paste and boop, and they're live, and yeah, right. And so if their business actually moves that slowly, they may have lost nothing.
The only company
there's no corruption. Goodity asked a good question too, which is, do we ever use progressive backups? And I actually want to address that, because I haven't set those up on servers in several years, because, and I articulate this to every person always, forever, the progressive backup system does not tell you when it's running. And so I can't go look at the event log and know which of the progressives is current. Like, did it finish? Did the progressive update actually complete?
Okay, well, I can address that. In the progressive backups, there will be 2 backups in there. If
you just go to the old one,
you go to the older of the 2. But here's the rub with the progressive. I think progressives are useful. I tend to want to turn them on, although I think on my personal server they're off. The progressives were designed to make backups faster. That was before solid state drives were really a thing. With solid state drives, mostly you get backups that are faster. It's less of an issue. The other thing you can have happen is you can have a database that starts going bad on you and actually corrupts in flight. Like, a lot of times we're talking about corruption as part of the crash because the file isn't closed properly, and the necessary close down process, the maintenance that a file gets, doesn't happen. So it's just kind of cut off at the ankles. But you can also have a file, this does happen, where you're using it, and out of the blue, your file, we don't know why, something bad happens in flight, and say FileMaker Server quits backing up. Most of the time, FileMaker Server won't do this very long, an hour or 2, maybe 6 or 7 hours. And so you need to be able to have that 24-hour backup window where you can, like, if someone discovers something really funky at 8 a.m. if something's not right, you get called in by 9 o'clock, you're investigating, and you figure out by 11 o'clock the previous evening went off the rails, and it didn't alert anyone. It didn't do a full crash on the server, so you can restore to the 10 o'clock backup that previous night, which won't generally be a problem. It's pretty rare for that to happen. It can happen. In a case like that, progressives won't protect you. Progressive is a supplement on top of a normal hourly backup schedule that you do. Daily, you keep a daily for at least 30 days. We keep like 90 days. You keep hourlies for at least 24 hours, if not, say, 2 days worth. And you keep weeklies for at least 52 weeks, which is a year. So you've got lots of good protection in there. It's really great. So that's my take on this. We're way off in the weeds, but I apologize. But this is
the reason I was going to bring it up, though, is because I'm because of something I've observed with server 19.4. I have to adjust my advice, actually, and I'm glad that someone asked about it, because I hadn't had a chance to do that in public, basically. So that was my previous advice, which is basically, I don't care about progressives. I don't turn them on because I can't look at them and know which one's good. And so it makes it, if someone's like, I need super quick backups, it's really easy to program in a 15, a 30, and a 45-minute after the hour backup, goes in between the hourlies. You have almost as good a coverage as you'd have anyway, and they're full-throated backups with logs, right? So a change in 19.4 that I observed last week is that it now logs every progressive start and completion into the event log.
Oh, I did not know that.
That was not present previously. So I have to update my advice, because that is now a useful 5-minute backup.
Okay. Yeah. So those of you wondering real quick, so we eat our own dog food. So I have hourlies that run on, and it keeps 24 on a separate drive. I have dailies that run on the same drive. It keeps 30. I have hourlies on the boot drive. I only keep 10 because there's limited amounts of space I have. Hourly on another drive, keep 24. Daily on another drive, on that same B drive, keeps 30. Weekly on the A drive keeps 99, so it keeps 18 months about. Okay, and so That's what I personally do because I don't want to lose my stuff. Additionally, somewhere in here I have an offsite backup, so in case, which is really important because you have tornadoes and floods and hurricanes, things like that, and you need to have a backup that's deeper than just what's on the machine right here. Lynn asked a question. Will there always be a DMP file in the logs folder when the server crashes? I always check that every day due to crashes in the past.
The answer is no.
Okay.
That's just, so if it's of a type of crash where FileMaker correctly detects a crash, like it is a handleable crash, yeah, you'll get a dump. It'll be in there. Obviously, if it's a supported version of FileMaker Server, you are encouraged to ship that over to Claris. Maybe it's a bug they don't know about. But I've observed, we'll just say, general instability in FileMaker Server in the years that I've worked here. And yeah, sometimes it makes dumps, sometimes it doesn't.
Okay, Rick Fosnot says we do weekly images stored off-site, snapshot images, which is kind of an Amazon thing for the most part.
That's a good one.
Rick Fosnot, is it worth doing a recovery of a file as a maintenance item? Generally not necessary unless you, and that's a whole separate conversation about recovery. I guess we can go back and have a live stream about that. We did one about a year ago, I guess, and answer the questions about that. So
it's, yeah, when people ask that question, it's the very quick answer is if you can't remember the last time it was done, maybe it's time to do it. But otherwise, as a regular scheduled thing, unless you know that your business does something that beats the heck out of the file format, it's not usually necessary.
Yeah, normally a compressed copy is the thing you want to do. Recovery, I only normally do if there is some sort of weirdness in the file, like it's doing something weird. And normally what I have is I do a recovery and it doesn't fix the issue. It turns out it's either a bug in my code or it's a bug in that copy of FileMaker Pro, right? That version of FileMaker. But yeah, I don't just preempt. I mean, a lot of developers, and Claire's the standard recommendation, because recovery can change the data. If it sees problems, it can change the data. Very rarely is that a negative sort of thing, but it can do it. And generally when it does it to the benefit of the file, but it could do it as a negative, right? It could get rid of stuff it doesn't know what to do with, and you could lose some data. Recovery, but that's always when the file's damaged, right? So once again, it's the chicken or the egg. Did you damage the file? Then you're doing the recovery. If your file's running great and everything's fine, don't touch it, leave it alone, okay? Don't touch it. Yeah. You're just looking.
I was going to say that the second screenshot I have from that customer's file that says doesn't know what the field type is. The other screenshot is of the recover log.
Can you bring that up? Can you let me bring that up? I'm gonna because this is the next scary part. Okay, so remember before it said it didn't know what the file was, so then he did a recovery, and the recovery goes, I don't know what it was, but I'm just gonna make it a text field. Yeah. So that's what recoveries can do. If they get confused, they can just do something like that. And that might or might not be correct in this case. I have no idea. It's probably a number or a text field based on my historical experience, but it's guessing. It literally guessed.
Yeah. It literally guessed. It is a capital N number field in their file. Yeah.
Oh, it is a number field?
It is a number field. Yeah.
So it got it wrong. It's
a numeric ID. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
so yeah, it isn't free. It can have implications. That's also why everyone's like, Jacob, why do you do this? Because like we'll run a recover on a file as a diagnostic thing, and like well, you'll do it with the client, and they'll be stoked because they'll get the little pop up at the end of the recovery that says the file's great, there's no problems, no modifications, no blah, none of this stuff. I'm still sitting over here reading the log file.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't mean that it did nothing.
Right.
It doesn't always mean that it did nothing. And there are certain things that don't trip those numbers to increment, but are still modifications to the file.
Yeah, so you don't want to generally run recover just willy-nilly, okay? That's why they have that run a compressed copy. Once again, that's a separate conversation. That's about it for today. Hopefully everyone got something out of this. This should scare you over here. As a side note, Christian Schmidt's floating around. I did tell everyone how great the continuity camera was, and I greatly recommend that you. He's got some other sessions coming up for scanning and various other camera-y kind of document things on the Windows side, so the Windows people don't feel like second-class citizens, right? We never want you to feel that way, even though you chose to use an inferior operating system. In some ways superior operating system, but a different operating system. So we want you to feel welcome and loved and snuggly. So as a result, Christian Schmidt will be doing some of that in the future, right? So we have him on the calendar, on the schedule. So that's about it. We have anything else? Anything else from anyone? Nope. Jacob Taylor, any final words or thoughts?
No, restore from backups. That's yeah.
Yeah, today turned into a restore from backup day. I mean, that's good. I'm glad we did it because there's people here that I guess didn't hear that. So
that's that's always the best approach, and it's one of those, if you can't suffer, we hourlies, most servers you can tweak them just so, and they'll run hourlies without real issues. But if you need better restoration than that, 15 minutes or 30 minutes. If you can't do hourly, or if you can do hourly and you can't do 15 minutes, you might be able to do 30. You can do that too. That's a good like kind of middle ground that'll save you. It's one of those, well, worst case scenario, it pops at 59 after the hour. Yeah. That sucks. That's a bad day. But but right, you said 30 minutes. We can't do 15. Okay, then
there you go.
Make those choices. So.
All right, yeah, you got to make a choices. Your how much you're willing to lose versus your budget. All right, cool. That's it for today, everyone. I appreciate you. Have a good one. See ya. Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir.